First, President Donald Trump may have backed away from his plans to seize Greenland by force, but after weeks of transatlantic tension, it's still a major issue for European leaders. So much so that today, the French President Emmanuel Macron described the turbulence as a strategic wake-up call for the continent. He made those comments as he hosted the Greenlander and Danish leaders at the Élysée Palace. Now, our reporter James André is also at the Élysée Palace covering that meeting today. James, tell us a bit about what's been going on and why this meeting is being held here in Paris.
I mean, the whole point of this meeting is really to show France's support to both Denmark and Greenland, and its support to Greenland's sovereignty in the face of indeed a threat by the United States of America. Donald Trump, who made it quite clear, including in Davos, that, well, he wants a measure at least of sovereignty over the Nordic island. And this, of course, is a red line, both for Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen of Denmark and Jens-Frederik Nielsen of Greenland. And in this fight, if you will, to defend the European sovereignty over Denmark, well, France has been very early to back Denmark and Greenland by sending troops very rapidly in order to have a military presence on the island, in a sense, to basically stop, or at least make the Americans, show the Americans that indeed there is, along with other nations, a real will of Europe to defend its sovereignty over the island. So this was very much the whole point of this visit, with Emmanuel Macron stating today that in his view, indeed, there is a very real risk now on the Arctic, and that there is a renewed need for increased military presence there. And indeed, for the Prime Ministers of Denmark and Greenland, it was an opportunity to thank France, who is also opening a consulate at Nuuk, the Greenland capital, and there will be a consul who has been named and will be arriving at the beginning of February.
And President Emmanuel Macron today, James, talking about these tensions with Donald Trump as a strategic wake-up call for Europe. That language, rather different to what we've been hearing from the NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte, who told EU lawmakers on Monday that Europe should keep dreaming if it thought it could defend itself without the United States. What do you make of this sort of slight difference in the language there?
Well, I'd say it's quite a major difference, with really Emmanuel Macron saying that what he wants to see is Europe assert its sovereignty, basically beef up its defences and produce its own weapons. Now, let's listen to Emmanuel Macron and Mette Frederiksen during this meeting, and then we'll just discuss what they said.
Welcoming you both here today is an opportunity for France to reiterate its solidarity with Denmark, its commitment to your sovereignty and territorial integrity, and to reaffirm to Greenland and the Greenlandic people our full support. In view of Russia's stance in the far north, China's economic presence, and the strategic consequences of this rapprochement, we agree on the need to strengthen our defense posture in the Arctic. Recent events confirm that the situation in Greenland is a strategic wake-up call for the whole of Europe.
In a situation where the world order as we have known it is under pressure, it's changing rapidly, maybe it's gone, then we need a stronger Europe than ever. A Europe that is willing and able to stand up for our values and for our principles. It's up to us, and only up to us Europeans, to create a confident and prosperous Europe of tomorrow. We have to be able to defend ourselves.
It's actually quite interesting, because this morning the two prime ministers who visited the Élysée Palace gave a conference at the Sciences Po school in Paris. And indeed, the Greenlandic Prime Minister, for example, Jens-Frederik Nielsen, really expressed how he is extremely worried. He said that the population of Greenland was actually afraid during all this rhetoric build-up by Donald Trump. Of course, there is a sense that there will be, this is at least what the Americans and said no military invasion, and that has kind of eased the tension somewhat. But he did say that there is a need to really defend Greenland in all its dimensions. He said that, for example, in his view, the social media were, and I quote, frying the brains of Greenlandic youths, and that needed to be some control. Also saying that, well, there needed to be a more and tighter-knit strategic partnership with Europe. And of course, Emmanuel Macron there as well, saying that there will be, you know, a renewed security architecture for the Arctic by the European Union that's going to be built this year. And of course, all this is very important in order to show, and you know, the French president is very much on the forefront with this, that France is willing to defend European sovereignty over Greenland.